Alright, hello. Let's go ahead and jump into the second video. And in this video, we're going to basically take some reference, start building out a design, and then we're going to paint it in the next or the following video after this. So I have these Pinterest boards already made. So basically I can just go in here and just start grabbing some images that I think are already pretty cool. I have all sorts of really cool images with all sorts of really cool colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find like a base image. Maybe like this image right here. This is pretty good. It's got a pretty cool pose. Or at least it's like not that aggressive of a pose. And I can just do this. And then I can just crop it out. It's got a cool patterns and stuff like this too. So that might be helpful. And then one of the things that I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to like basically, I don't know why I was using the mouse for that, try to get this character the best I can. If you hold shift and you do the lasso selection, you can try to get some of this image out. And I like to do sections so it's not like all in one go. I would like to think that I can do it all in one go. If you hold Alt, you can do negative selection. And it doesn't matter if it's perfect because we're going to do a lot of changes. But we do kind of want to have this separate because it's going to help. Now, although we're using like photos and we're doing all this type of stuff, you know, there's a lot of the ideas out there or people, or a lot of like speculation about like how using photos is kind of cheating. You should just like render or paint it yourself. Well, whenever you have like a deadline, you know, it's really hard to kind of just paint everything unless you have a lot of practice. For instance, I put a lot of time and practice into just being able to do a lot of this stuff by hand, but you know, even I find that, you know, using references and using using photos is a time saver. But I generally try to do what I'm going to do here is more about like getting cool ideas and getting my painting started. Whoops. Than it is about like straight up just using lots of these different materials and just calling it a day. Because I want to make sure that I bring something new to the table that, you know, someone else couldn't just do right away. And so even me showing you guys this, it takes practice. And so one of the things you'll notice too is that, you know, like selecting this character is not that easy. You know, it takes some time to even get that right. But for the purposes of this demonstration, while we're doing this is because we're going to go over here. We're going to go to, where is it at? I don't remember exactly. I think it's this one. Yeah. Content aware move. So basically for me, it's usually I actually have that already default, but this is a new Photoshop. I'm sorry, this is a new machine. I've just been using it for painting mostly. I haven't tried to do this method in a while, so that's why it wasn't default. And in fact, I should change the hotkeys to here because I only really use the spot healing, the healing brush, and the content aware. But nonetheless, let's just go ahead and click on this, which is the hotkey. It's J. And if I want to like do the very thing that I talked about, what I'll do is go to Tools, and I'll just look for J because it'll be the fastest. And then I'll notice that all these things are here. Delete that. Delete that. I mean, even that I can probably get rid of. Yeah. Hit OK. And so now if I press Shift J, it'll switch between the spot healing and the content aware move. But we want to have well, actually, let's do this first. Let's do that. So basically I've duplicated this layer so that way it is, you know, I just realized something. Anyways, I duplicated this layer so that this person's pretty much floating by themselves. And I'm going to turn that off. And then I'm going to control click this so I can get my selection again. And now I'm going to do the content aware move. And what I'm going to do here is just basically move this person completely off the frame if I can, you know? And if I hit enter, it should try to do the best as it can, but I guess it's not doing it. So let me just move it a little less off frame. So that way it's just moving it over to the side. But essentially what I want to do is try to get as much of this background as possible, right? And I recognize that I should have been a little bit more straightforward. So basically I'm going to duplicate this layer entirely, do this again, and I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to try to just get her mostly off. And again, it's going to give us like kind of a choppy deal, but it's okay. And then what we can do here is now we can erase this because that is the background untouched. And then we're going to just go ahead and duplicate that. And then we're going to go ahead and do some smaller sections and then just slowly just content aware move everything out. And then just again, whoops, got to make sure that we have a duplicate of the background at all times. Let's just keep that one there for now. And then press J, move it off. We have to have some of that visible. Do this. Let's try to do a little larger pieces. And then slowly but surely, let's try to get even more. See if we can save some time. And you can be surprised for sure, right? Like how it's just figuring it out. And this tech is only going to get easier to do this type of stuff. And the goal again is to just completely get rid of the character from the background. There you go. And now we can go ahead and erase this corner because I have the one on the bottom already there, and then just merge those together. Control J it again, and now we press Shift J so we can get the spot healing. And I'm using the mouse because I just prefer it. And I like to just drag a couple pixels. Let's increase the hardness, or decrease the hardness so it's 0 hardness. So it's a little more soft. It's gonna process more. It's gonna take a little bit longer to figure out what's going on. See how we can do with the shadow. Now the shadow's there, but it's kind of okay. And I think that's good enough. I don't really think it needs to be 100% perfect. So now we have the character independent from the background, and that's really valuable. And what I'll do here too is like we can now merge those together, this background, and then we can go with this layer here and just kind of like make sure we get rid of some of the gray parts. And I have my magic wand tool, and it's at a 10% or 10 tolerance, so that way it should be a lot easier to grab some of these colors and then just delete them. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to make a lot of changes, but I do want to kind of get rid of some of this artifacting. And then you'll notice here there's some floaters. I don't care that it's like pixelated. And I'm just trying to get rid of as much as I can. There's some down here, but again, it's not too big of a deal. Because again, I'm going to make a lot of changes. So I'll try not to spend too much time, but I thought I'd show you guys kind of like a really good way to like clean up your edges. And like now that I have somewhat of the clean edges, there's still some weird artifacting. If you really want to get rid of this, one of the best ways to do this is just lock the layer by pressing the question mark, or the slash is the actual symbol, but I have it on A, or clicking this checker mark thing on your layers panel. And then once it's like that, then you just pick a color that's neighboring that edge, so that way you can kind of create a more full silhouette. And again, I say neighboring, So don't pick like this value over here and try to clean up your edges. Pick the value that's really close, the color end value that's really close, so that way it creates a more seamless look. But this is the kind of technique that I do for something that I'm actually going to clean up the edges for. But in this instance, I'm just doing it as a demonstration if you really want to like sharpen your edges. But as I keep explaining, there's going to be a lot of changes happening really rapidly. Okay, and so I think I think that this is good. I don't really feel there's more need to just keep messing with this image. We can now go to the picks to picks and use this tool. I'm going to use this and I'm going to show you how we can have some fun with this. But it's also not a bad idea to, like, let's say grab other references, like reference images. Open image, new tab. See if I can find a higher res version of this image. You can do all sizes. There you go. And then we can go here. And this is going to be much easier because now we're just taking pieces. We're taking pieces of this image, and it's like in the same lighting, so it works out perfectly. And then I'm just going to delete this image altogether. And then we can kind of put these shoes on pretty aggressively, just like slap them on, if that's what I wanted to do, right? And what's cool is that there's like other images that are similar, right? So there's a lot of like stuff we can do here. We can take this image, we can essentially take the sleeves maybe, separate these, and I'm doing this super sloppy because there's going to be huge changes. And now obviously this is a lot from this photo shoot, so people are going to, who follow this artist or this photographer, they're going to recognize that these images came from that. So that's why we have to truly use this as a creative tool, because it's not wise to just straight up copy other people's work or use a lot of what they had. And so there's a few things that we can do that I'm going to show you to make this our own. Again, this is just a start. I'm not really going to keep it like this. I don't even know about these. I kind of like just the feet. I might just do my own feet, to be honest. You know, but there's a lot of really cool images here, and there's a lot of things we can get inspired by. Like I still do kind of like this head. Whoops. Like there's something really cool about this helmet. And normally I like to use these images for reference, but sometimes we gotta move quicker. Now that head's bigger. Just try to match the scale of the head. Actually, I'm gonna use a mask instead, so I can bring back parts. That's actually pretty cool. So I'll have to come back and work on that. later. All right, so I mean that is in itself is pretty fascinating. We can probably kind of run with this, but again, I want to try to really divorce from this image. So we got all these parts, and I'm just gonna like basically just group them all together because we're gonna change a lot of stuff. So I don't want to have too many things that I can like work from. I want to like be able to. I want to be able to basically construct entirely from the ground up a whole new image. So let's try to get some of this pix to pix stuff. So I'm going to design like some sort of like chest plate armor that also could be, oops. And this is going to rely on your ability to draw pretty symmetrical. Because if you want to get the best result, you want to kind of do this. So I'm going to try to do this way. And again, this is going to give us like a really fascinating result. But you'll see how I'm going to use it. And it's unexpected. So what I'm focusing on here is just the patterns and the shapes that I'm constructing. And then I'm going to go ahead and let it try to figure that out. And so it's created this like really fascinating thing. So let's see if it'll give us a different result. So it's giving us pretty much the same result. So then what we can do here is make some more changes and see what happens. So this is actually still pretty similar. So what we can do is we can go ahead and copy this image, go back to Photoshop, essentially just grab this part. I'm gonna sneeze again. I feel it coming. I'm allergic to this, I guess, this image. And you might think to yourself, okay, well, that's going to ruin everything, isn't it, AJ? Well, that's only if we keep it as it is, right? And so we're using this to kind of get some of those materials, some of those textures, but we're not going to use it, obviously, as it is 100%. We're going to kind of reinvent this image. And even the colors, I'm going to change the colors. In fact, let's go ahead and make those changes to the colors right now. I'm going to first kind of pick a color design that I feel a little bit more is going to speak to what I prefer. So something like this. And then this, my actress has now become purple herself, but that's fine because I have the layer underneath. So all I need to do is create a mask and just erase away where her head is at. And we can bring back some of that red. But the goal here is to essentially erase away the stuff that's making her purple. And again, it might not be perfect, but it's okay. In the video following this, you're going to see why it's okay. Bring back some of that red down here. It could be cool. And then maybe in the shoulder pads. Alright. And what's cool is that we can go back and if we feel differently about this color, we can always change it up again some more. And so with this image right here, I'm going to also effectively change this material and color. And then what you can do is you can actually have, I'm going to go ahead and group these together. You can actually have this image match the color. And I might ultimately try a different pattern if I feel like this is not going to work out. Like right now I'm feeling like, I don't know, maybe it's not going to work out. So let's try a different one, right? But what we can do is we can go, and I think it's under adjustments, and then we can go match color, and we can have this go to our file, which is this untitled one, and then we can have it look at layer 7, which is our main character, and see what we can do to have it match its color to the best. And obviously we can do this with other things, and it's actually doing a pretty good job of matching the color. And there are actually some parts of this that I think are really good. In fact, I think it's really just mostly this right side. So I'm going to do something like this, duplicate it, flip it horizontal, and then just do something like this. And then what I'm going to do is create more of a pattern coming down, putting these together. And then we're going to adjust the level so it kind of matches the same intensity. So that's looking fantastic. And then I'm going to duplicate that, see if we can echo that design somewhere else. And if you're using the new Photoshop, I'm using, if you press Control T and then hold Alt, it will scale it from the center axis. If you hold Shift, it'll allow you to scale it like that. Because if you just do it like that, it scales it universally. It doesn't matter which axis that you grabbed, so you have to hold Alt and Control, whatever you may need. So obviously I don't want it to go all the way down there. I have the sleeve overlapping. And then again, this is not going down like that. And then this is going to have its own feeling, so let's go ahead and adjust that. All right, let's see if we can get a cool helmet design. And so, or like parts of a helmet. And your ability to draw somewhat of symmetry might be useful here. And now I'm using the bag. I mean, I guess it's not too problematic because of the shape in which my character's in is not that like turned, so I can kind of just take half of this and work. Oh, this is actually pretty dope. And so let's go ahead and copy this image, and again let's just take this. Yeah, I can definitely work with this. This is great. And then just get rid of this. Try to get rid of as much white noise as possible. It's gonna be quite a lot of noise, but it's okay. And now you might be thinking, well, this is actually like kind of garbage texture. It's like low resolution. What are you going to do about that? Again, we're not trying to necessarily go for super high fidelity right now. We're just going for creativity. And then in the next video, I'm going to talk about how we're going to clean all this up to make it look like one uniform painting. But we're going to mess it up here first. So then this is actually so nice that I might just save this and just kind of make sure that it's untouchable for now. So I'm going to call this source. So we'll have a folder where it's just source images. And then I can do this and put this as char. And then just put these two together. Nope, I don't want to do that. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do here is essentially I'm going to do the match color thing again. So I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to image. And you can probably tell I don't do this often because I normally just try to like paint everything because it is actually faster for me, but I know some of you guys are still having a hard time doing that. Look for char to make it easier. And you just got to mess with these settings just to see if it gets the right effect. And you might not actually. You might have something that is not at all close to what you would like. And if that happens, right, like in this instance, it's not doing a good job of it. It's okay. We can always just color it ourselves using, hue and saturation, color balance, all these great tools. And so I'm going to use hue and saturation first. Let's do levels. Let's increase the contrast a bit. Just make sure it's not too contrasty. Let's do some color balance. Try to get a lot of these colors to be warmer. Okay, and now what we can do is see if we can get even closer to this. And that's good enough. Okay, and so yeah, these pieces are pretty good. And so I'm going to do that. Kind of create some sort of tabard. Yeah, I like the way that texture comes out. And so I'm going to go ahead and just basically take this out, paste it in place by pressing. Let me do that again so I can remember what I just did. I do it so much. So I'm pressing Control X to cut it out, and then Control Shift V to place it exactly where it was. So now it's on its own layer, and it was placed in the specific location that I grabbed it from. And obviously start designing this to look different. And I feel like it's still not matching the color exactly, but it's okay. I think this is a good alien space soldier character. I could see this character being put into the Marvel universe, specifically for the more of the, what you call it, like Guardians of the Galaxy type universe. So let's go ahead and take this. Let's put this behind our character. In fact, let's put all these in here into our group. It's double clicking on accident. Sorry about that. So now this is behind. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to like create some sort of sense of fabric behind this character. And then with this, definitely lower the opacity, so it definitely looks like it's going behind. And then when we have all this, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to group these together and then group everything else together. I don't really need everything to be separate. I do want these to be separate because I'm still not certain how much of this I want to keep. And so we're going to do something like this. That's overlapping. The fingers are overlapping a little bit. So now what I can do is I'll make a color layer. And then I'll pick the colors of like this red, for instance. I'm on color brush, sorry. Color layer and then just normal brush. Hit enter. And then now I can try to like get some of these colors wrapped in here a little bit more organically. And then, you know, merge that together. Before I do that, let's lower the intensity of this. Yeah, that works great. And now we can merge all these together. And then we have our design that we can start to fudge around with. And this is where I'll have a lot of fun with, like, you know, maybe taking this and extruding it, warping it, creating my own design from this, and then shaping the silhouette of it. And obviously we got to do the same thing over here. So we'll bring this out. And again, shaping it out. You know? And then what we can do with her cowl, and I'm going to go ahead and just merge all that together. Take a piece of that right here. We can try to duplicate that, move it up a little bit, add some more dimensionality to it. And again, curve this out so the silhouette is prominently different. And maybe like even bring it up. So create some negative space back there. Maybe bring that down, add it in her waist area. You know, then merge all that down. Take this pattern right here on her sleeve and just start to maybe mix this around as well. And this we could probably just duplicate and flip horizontal. I don't think anyone's going to notice this right away. And then merge those, and then before I actually erase, just kind of like see what I'm hiding and what I can get out of this. And again, the goal is to try to create something that's a lot more creative. And so now, if you go back and think about like the first image that we used, it's like nowhere near the original image. It's very clearly like hodgepodged and mixed around. Obviously, we're using some similar colors, but even that we can still change ultimately, right? If we feel like, you know what, like let's just go more orange, purple. But we're really using that aesthetic to get us a good basis. We use some of the Pix 2 tools to kind of create some more superficial textures, right? But now we're going to stop and then take this to the next stage, which is to paint it and make it look really interesting. All right. So I'll see you guys in the next video. All right. So now it's time for us to really push this image to make it look a lot more crazier and more like a painting too. So one of the first things that I would do is I would select this layer because this is our character. We call it char. And then we go to filter. We go to blur, we go to smart blur. And in here, we make sure we're zoomed out of the image so we can get a good sense of what's going to happen to everything. And we can just mess with this until we get a result that looks like it's hand painted. And more importantly, it's getting rid of a lot of the noise. It's getting rid of a lot of that texturing. Right, that's what we're going for. And we can do different types of effects if you want a different type of a thing, but I'm not going to go for that. I usually like to go high with a pretty high radius with a medium to low threshold. And then you hit OK. And then you'll see that it kind of like softens a lot of the edges and makes it a lot more painterly. At least it feels that way, right? And then you can do some other stuff, like if you have your video card acceleration on, you can use some stylized tools like oil paint. And again, we want to make sure we're zoomed out slightly. And then we can just kind of see what it's going to do, and it's just going to create like a whole different effect. And you can kind of see what you can get out of that. You know, if you go too stylized, it's gonna mess it up a bit. But in this instance, we can probably just deal with it, and it creates this kind of blurred effect, right? But I would actually still advise not to use that, just because I want to start to actually paint on this character. Okay, so this character is pretty high contrast, so I'm gonna like bring back some of the whites and some of the blacks so that I can paint in my own. We're going to try to get the same effect of the contrast that was there before. But now it's like, you know, we can really work with this. And then I'm just going to use kind of like a regular round brush with a regular eraser, like a hard eraser, so that way I can kind of start cleaning some of these edges up still. And begin, you know, starting to add pieces to this that just wasn't there. Like, I like this idea of her hair, potentially this feeling that her hair is coming across her face, this red patch. Let's try to design it. And this is the part that, unfortunately, if you don't have a lot of skill in painting, this is where the video ends for you, I guess, right? And so what you're gonna see here, what I'm going to do, is just the paint, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't attempt this. It's just that it's going to be much harder for you if you don't have a lot of skill. But if you want to try it, you should. I think you should still try to practice it, because what will ultimately happen is that as the more you practice painting on your photos, like photo bashed images, you're going to kind of build like this skill that only really comes from trying to paint on top of photos, and it's more realistic painting. Because anything that you start to do to this image that doesn't feel realistic, it's going to be very obvious. And I think that a lot of people don't recognize that this is going to be a problem. They think, okay, I got this photo, and I'm just going to start putting in some, paintings now, so that way it's my own. You're going to recognize real quick the problem of your own painting skills. And so I'm going to try to change up this person's face too, so that way it is my own creation somewhat. Still want to keep her relatively the same actress that I kind of casted here, but I might change the features of like her proportions. Start to clear this up. Start to paint this stuff in. And I'm only using the round brush, and then I'm using my smudge tool to kind of smudge some of these other values in there. And again, we want to try to like really reinvent this. So you can see that I'm using the materials, I'm using the kind of the patterns from the photos that were given to me, but now I'm starting to really try to evolve this. And again, normally I would actually just paint everything, just because I have even more control over that. But I recognize, like I said earlier, like that's really hard to do if you don't have a lot of skill. And so this is a really good way to segue between low skill, but also productivity, like trying to be productive with your abilities. So then now what I'm going to do here is try to create some sort of nuanced designs to push this even further. I also like to do images, and maybe this is something I'm going to do in a different photo bashing session or another video you might see, which is just like taking a photo and completely designing something that has nothing to do with the images that you started with. And there's some people who do this really well, and they use it as a great tool to kind of like just create, images that look pretty fantastical, if that's a word. And the approach basically is that you take a photo, like let's say of like, I don't know, like a donut, and then you just turn that donut into like a full-fledged like dragon creature. And like I said, that in itself is really challenging to do, more challenging than what you're seeing here. Okay, let's go ahead and like sharpen this too. Now, also sometimes people will then question like, well, what's the functionality here? Like, how is this going to be functional? And the answer to that question is, I don't worry about that when I'm trying to just be creative. I worry about that type of stuff if I'm not trying to be super creative. I'm just trying to create. Like I don't worry about functionality if I'm just trying to create like a cool image. And then later, I will start thinking about functionality, especially if like, the directors and people in charge are saying, hey, what the hell is this? And so now I'm going to use the airbrush, and I'm going to lock the layer so that way I can't paint outside of the silhouette. And then in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and start creating, because although this is symmetrical, there's very clear indication that the light's coming from the side. So if it's symmetrical and like they're having symmetrical lighting, it's going to feel a little bit more artificial. So we're going to go ahead and make these corrections now. Like the shadow of her head would be casted onto that. Flip the canvas to help me push these forms even further. And another great thing about this is that maybe you don't want to use this image entirely. Maybe like maybe you didn't do the step where we're painting over it. Maybe we're just going to like just kind of use this image as a reference. Like we will compile and kind of create this creative collage of like ideas from photos that we've gathered and references that we are inspired by. But we want to stay as genuine as possible, so we don't want to like use this exactly, right? We want to like, let's say, take this drawing or take this image and then like, make a layer like this, lower the fill, and then do like a line drawing, right? This is actually okay too. I think a lot of people think that, if you don't come up with every single idea by yourself every step of the way, that you're not a good artist. And the reality is that, like, although I do this a lot myself, where I actually will just draw, I actually do use reference a lot, and a lot of what I reference isn't necessarily, on the top of my mind. Like, I have to like look and get new ideas. And although maybe I'm drawing it and using it as inspiration, it's okay to, like, have references that help you with ideas even, but you got to make it your own. You got to like try to remove it as far as possible from the original subject matter, because this by all means now is a remix of that photographer and that fashion designer, and nothing here is exactly as it was. It's definitely falling in the category of a remix, right? If you think about like your favorite artists who sample music from other popular music, they like literally will take just like choruses and verses from different songs, and some don't even give any kind of accreditation of any kind. And like I said, that's like literal just copying and pasting, and then they just like rap over it. This is a lot more complicated. Obviously, this is not just as simple as just they like, because even some of the stuff that's added on top of this, I think, is really genuine, and so for me, what I tend to do mostly is that when I first started out in my career, I did this a lot. I would like obviously like photo bash quite a bit for things I was just not good at. But now that I have more practiced and I am more seasoned artist, I don't need to photo bash nearly as much. And again, it's not because I don't like it. It's not because I think there's something bad about it. It's because I honestly don't need to. I paint faster these days. But it does help to do like something like this to just get some ideas, try to get you more creative, Let's see if we can mix up the colors too. Let's just show some colors that feel a lot more alien. I think going a little bit more in this direction is actually pretty cool. And even the skin here, like, I think it actually looks better having a little bit of that warmth in there. So I'm going to probably keep it in there. And we can do some augmentation to her. This definitely now feels like Guardians of the Galaxy material. But I know plenty of really good painters that use photos and photo bashes, all sorts of images that you might have never thought they did. You might have looked at them and thought they painted every ounce of it. And so those expectations that usually people have, they get really disappointed. But like I said, like it's how we professionals do work. Now, again, I don't necessarily post photo bash work because I do have a lot of it that I've done in the past. Because I don't necessarily want to do this type of stuff either, right? I want to really just paint. And so if you don't, if you don't want to just do this exclusively, like you want to just use this as a tool, like another tool in your tool set, like I do, then that's one good strategy. But if you also want to like just be really good at designing and you don't want to really worry about like whether you can paint it or not, this is a great way of doing that, because a lot of the heavy lifting is kind of lifted from your shoulders. You can rely on some really good references and good images to help you get the remix started. But just know that eventually there's going to be a time, like just like I showed the photos of those people's faces, right, being created. There's going to be a time where, being able to paint is going to have a lot of value. So, I mean, obviously right now I'm demonstrating it. Like I'm painting a lot of this stuff now, right? I got the painting started, but I spent the last, 15 minutes actually adding changes to this design. And that's because I can paint it. I don't have to rely like only on adding more photos at this point. I can actually just paint a lot of these features in now because I know how to. And a lot of people that I know who photo bash cannot. They cannot just paint in new designs. And that's kind of the problem, because eventually the tools are going to become so intuitive and so easy. Like the machine learning is going to get so great that you can literally just like imagine like taking an image, like a bunch of photographers and taking a lot of photographers, taking a lot of images from people that you like, and kind of throw them into some machine, and it's gonna like give you something to start with. Like you don't even have to do basically the first part of this video where I did like a lot of the photo collaging. You won't even have to do any of that. Like it will just work, and that's something that you should always consider. There's going to be tools that are just so intuitive and so like the barrier to entry is like very like non-existent, that you're going to be left in the dust if you don't pay attention to this. Okay, so let's go ahead and just merge all this together, and let's go with the airbrush again. Let's create like a gradation from the bottom up, and I'm going to do like put my brush on overlay. Whoops. And then I'm going to pick a color that's a little bit more warmer, actually a little bit more cooler, might be nicer, and bright. And I'm just gonna glaze it coming from the direction of my light, just to like pop a lot of these forms some more. And then just to add some, cool visual effects, I'm going to make a layer, make a black layer, put it on screen, make a gradient map, and I have all these preset gradients, but I'll make a new one just to show you how that works. So basically click in the middle here, we'll pick a color, and then pick a color. And right now it's looking kind of weird, but don't worry about that. Like, let's see, like maybe like right here, like this blue. Actually, no, I was going more turquoise, so let's go turquoise. And it's more saturated, so let's go more saturated. And right now it's like getting the whole thing, but it's fine, because what we're going to do is clip it to our screen layer, which there's nothing there. But now if we paint in between these two layers, so you have the gradient map on the top, we have the black screen layer on the bottom, and in the between them, and by the way, I held Alt to click and clip them together using the clipping mask. Now if we go in here and we paint with like white, we can create this really cool glow effect. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go over all the little areas that I added these little lights. And I showed you how I made the gradient map, but you'll notice that I'm going to change it in just a second. Because once I put these glows in, it makes me change my mind. Just some more on the bottom here. Okay, so what I mean by change my mind is that I can go up here and like I have these different modes that I've already saved, and so I have like a different version that I think works better. And now all I have to do is just click here and just keep on painting. And like without it looks like that, with it looks like that. It's pretty cool. And then behind this, we can go ahead and let's say maybe make a brighter background to pop our character some more. And we can change the layer mode too. We can put like an overlay. Oh, I just recognized I put it all on that, my actual background. That's not what I wanted. Let's try this again. And I'm just going to default put on overlay. So that way our character pops just a little bit more. And since it's on its own layer, we can always adjust the mount. That should be good. And so what's cool is that we can like, you know, make a new character and put it in the same background if we like. And then I think moving from here, I might just add another round of like color balance to kind of group these colors just a little bit more. Yeah, I actually don't know if I like that glow on the top. Looks super like weird. And I don't know if I like that glow in general on the top there. So I'm gonna kind of get rid of it. And then at this point, you know, we got like a pretty fantastic looking image, right? It's really crazy, it's really weird, something that might have been much harder for me to just start from the ground up, but using a lot of the different tools that you saw, I'm able to create this image here in less than an hour or so, right? And that's obviously with me talking. It's going to take some time away, some focus on trying to give some proper instruction. And now that those techniques I showed earlier about cleaning up the edges makes way more sense now to try to do so, because this is kind of where we want the image to be. So we're going to go ahead and make those adjustments. And then what we can do from here is add one more effect, because again, we want everything to look super photorealistic. We're going to go color dodge on my layer, and then I'm going to double click on this and get rid of these two settings. My Wacom pen is like being all fidgety, so there you go. And then what we do here is go to like the materials that I think could be a lot more reflective, and I'll just kind of just paint them in. The parts that are supposed to be more glowy, we can make them even more glowy. Again, parts that are more reflective, we can make them more reflective. And then, once that's all said and done, we can basically merge everything together onto its own layer. I pressed Control Alt Shift E to do such a thing. And then what we can do is we can, we can add another smart blur on everything just to kind of like compound the effect that we had before. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll do that, and then I'll actually turn it down a little bit so it's not too aggressive. So there's like a little bit of like a mixture. So it's like right around here seems good. And then merge all that together. And then so now the background's a lot smoother, so there's less noise from the background. And then what we can do is make a black layer. There's a lot of filters, but this is why this is a little bit more advanced too, right? Like this is why I'm always saying you should be very cognitive. Like if you're gonna make a realistic image, then you're gonna have to do a lot of things to make it feel more realistic once you start making a bunch of changes. So we're gonna add noise, but it's all right. It's all video form, so you can just rewatch everything. And I scale up that noise pretty rapidly, and then I put this onto screen, and you can see that it gives us a nice like noise over everything, which is really cool. And then I'll lower this obviously. And this noise, let's do it like 25. This noise is just to help like make it all feel like this is like a realistic image, And then on the bottom, like this actual, we'll call it final, and we'll call this noise. And so then on this final image, we're going to make a few more adjustments. We're going to go ahead and bring back the blacks and get rid of the whites just a little bit though. And then we're going to see if we can mess with the contrast some more to brighten up the image in the best way possible, so it's not so contrasty. And actually I like the contrast. We'll just bring back the black so it's not too dark. And then what we're going to do is one of my favorite things to do is press Control Shift R, which is lens correction. Go to custom, and then there's something called chromatic aberration. This is some old school techniques. Again, I don't really do this that much anymore. But we're adding just like that little bit of like a lens blur on everything, just to see the difference. It's really subtle, but it just adds like that more photorealistic feel. And then there we have it. We have something that looks like super realistic, super crazy though. It's like really fantastic of an idea. It's like it was really pushing the fantasy elements. But we were really getting like something that started from a bunch of different ideas, from a bunch of different silhouettes, and moving things around. And again, like a lot of these materials and stuff that we kind of borrowed from those photos, a lot of them aren't necessarily like unique. I mean, of course there's like sleeves that look like this, so people are going to probably have a harder time trying to really pinpoint which and what you started with. And that's really how it's supposed to be. I've seen photos, and I'm a victim of this as well, some photo bashing where you can clearly see like that's like some sort of like military helmet or from some sort of soldier somewhere, right? And the problem with this is that it's really easy to do, or it's easier to do, and you'll find that less and less people do it because it is so easy to do. And you're going to see more movies that have this imagery, but then it starts to slowly evaporate from that because it's just so standard. So if you're going to do this type of photo bashing, this kind of creative manipulation of your images, then you should try to push it. You got to like remix it, like really, and make it so that it's going to be hard for people to kind of pinpoint what the heck you started with. Like no one's ever going to guess that 30% of this image was from that Pix to Pix stuff that I did, right? And I only use it just to get some shapes and texturing, right? And that I probably could have just done myself, but it just was more fun to use that tool. And with that all being said, I hope you guys learned a lot. And there's a lot of cool effects and stuff that I did here that you guys can apply to your own work that could be really helpful outside of just photo bashing. I mean, a lot of the things you saw could be used for just regular paintings as well. But try your hand at this. See what creative things you guys can come up with, and see if you can go even more bizarre. Like maybe take this like a different kind of head. What if you created a cat head? Remember the cat Pix to Pix? I used the person because I just wanted to. But what if I wanted like to do an alien or some sort of like monster? like what would that look like? So hope that helps, and I can't wait to see your guys' creations, and enjoy.